Lifting Leaders podcast, where we're unleashing leader possibilities to make a better world. I'm Tricia Ryan, and together with Crystal Roberts, we're diving deeper into some of the complexities of the world's most critical challenges and exploring innovative ways of navigating through them.
Through interviews with experts and leaders just like you, we are exploring what it takes to thrive as a leader today and examining new ways of thinking about how to creatively lead into a more equitable, socially responsible, and sustainable future. And the future starts now. Hi, Tricia.
Hi, Crystal. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I am really great. We have a great episode today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be doing some celebrating.
Yes, it's about time, huh? We've done so much. We need to celebrate.
That's right.
And
yeah.
we need to share it with those people who have made it possible.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Very cool.
99. This is episode 99. And next week will be 100. So we're doing a little pre-celebration. And as we think about our own sort of contribution around opening our heart to make a better world, we thought, what better way than to celebrate, which celebrating in community, that means celebrating with you, our listeners, all the wonderful things that have happened this last year and even since the beginning.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, we have passed our 2-year mark, but we had already started our Opening Your Heart series, and so it was really important, I think, that we moved forward, but we have a great opportunity this week to just share, and we get to share our Opening Your Heart part of this series, and I'm so excited. I'm glad that we're here. I'm so glad. And when we share the numbers and stuff and everything that we're doing, I think other people will feel the same way, I hope.
Yeah. I love that we've had so many people on the journey with us, and that's what we do it for. We do it for you, our listeners. So we're excited to be able to share this with you.
So, let's just talk about how we started this last year. You and I are both kind of planners. We like to have everything mapped out. And although some people may think we're from outer space, that we map it out on easel charts and stick them up on your windows all over your house. I mean, to me, that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Oh, it's our jam, right? We love flip charts and smelly markers and
stickers and you name
it. We have so much fun doing that. Yeah.
It is one of my most fun moments when we do our planning. It's just way too fun. So we did make some goals for last year, though. Yeah. And we wanted to share our goals with you so that you knew that, we didn't just come in here, sit down, and start talking, right?
Which would be okay, too.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be great. But we had some goals, and I'll just list the first one. We just go back and forth, okay? So the first one was to launch and complete a themed series, and we did that last year. We had that series on healthcare, and we interviewed some amazing people. I won't even list them all, but we had Jack Schlosser, we had Marcel Lowe and Pam Hornsberger. We had a lot of people. And then, of course,
Bailey
we
Vale.
had Dr. Bailey Vale, who was our viral series, or our viral episode. It is now standing at over
170,000. Yep.
Which is great. But that was a goal that we nailed. We nailed that.
Yeah. And it was important to us to do it on healthcare because that is such a critical system that is just really reeling right now from COVID and a lot of other things. And so we wanted to bring light to that really important system.
Yeah, I think, we may, in our planning for our next year, need to think about revisiting that series a little bit because, to your point, it is still going on. We are still dealing with it. And healthcare in itself, hospital systems are finding that there's a huge amount of turnover now. Yeah. And so that affects the world, right? Yeah. And so I think it'd be a great idea to, at some point, just kind of do a little check-in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and our second goal was kind of around stretching ourselves and feeling uncomfortable around taking our podcast on the road. And we did that.
Yes, we did.
We were laughing about how we were really afraid what TSA was going to say to us when we came through the line with these microphones and all the stuff that we need to record.
I have to say, the first time we took it, we went to Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
We went to Santa Barbara, and I was carrying the case for that trip.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you. I felt like I was going to be considered a criminal. I was so nervous. My heart was in my throat as they pulled the case over to the side and opened it up so that they could look through to see where our microphones and all that. It was like, I was thinking, we're going to get arrested. I just knew.
So, but we made it through,
Yes,
and we got a couple of fantastic recordings while we were there regarding our Hope survey. And that was really fun. And we made it home too. with all of our equipment. And then we went to Seattle, so local, didn't have to go through TSA. But that was fun. We went up and recorded Jeff Bellman.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was lovely.
At his house. Yeah, it was gorgeous. Yeah. And then, of course, we just got back from New York. So that was really fun.
It was fun. And, we had challenges with respect to space in the rooms and stuff. It was just, but it worked really well. And we found out that we can actually record when there's background stuff going on.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we're learning as we go along, right?
Yeah, literally being on location in a place that isn't necessarily going to be totally quiet like a studio.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was really fun.
Our next goal was all around process improvement. And we did improve some processes this year. One of the things that we did in the past, and it was unfair, of course, to Crystal, but unfortunately, she was the resident expert on all this stuff. So this year we decided to be a little more equitable, I think, and share the duties of dealing with the administration behind the podcast. So while we both record and we both come up with our topics and things, Crystal does all the editing, and that is a huge lift. And she used to also do the notes. And now I do the show notes and you do the editing, and it feels a little better. You still have a bigger lift than I do, and I know that, but I could probably try and write better.
No, it's been a huge process improvement, so that when I actually get done with the editing and ready to drop, that it's all ready to go.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it works great.
And another process improvement thing that we did, which was, I think was pretty brilliant for us, was that we now often record more than one episode at one time. So we'll do an episode, and an hour later we'll do another episode, and maybe another hour later we'll do another episode, so that we can start building up a little bit of inventory, because sometimes our schedules just don't always, don't make it easy to record every single week.
Yeah.
So that was a big process improvement for us as well.
Yeah. And allows for things like getting COVID.
Yes.
Things like that.
Well, exactly.
So yeah, I love that. And the other part of that was we said we wanted to do, again, stretching our boundaries, learning something new. We wanted to do a few reels. And we did that this year too. Not a whole ton of them, but we got a few out, and that was really fun.
Well, we found out we can do it.
Yeah.
I think we had a lot of trial and error on that first one. I think we must have hit that record thing.
The re-record.
A million times. It was a lot of fun though.
Yeah. Let's see. And then, of course, we wanted to increase our numbers of listeners. We appreciate every one of you. And we'll talk about how much we actually increased our listeners in a little bit. We're going to share some numbers with you. But yeah, we can check the box on that one.
We also launched the Hope Survey. And that was a big deal. We've had every speaker has weighed in on the Hope Survey so far.
Yeah.
And we have had quite a few people who have gone on our website and actually accessed the survey and done it as well. So we are getting close to the threshold that we want, and we'll be able to work with that later this year. But that was a big deal
Yeah.
because we weren't sure what we were going to do with that. I know that we had aspirations of, writing a book and all of that, and we still do. But I think we have to unpack all that information and find out what's there.
Yeah.
But we can do it now because
Yeah.
we launched it and
Yeah.
got it. We've got data.
And we hope that you have enjoyed listening to our guests' answers to the hope question.
Yes.
I think it's a kind of a win-win where we'll have data that we can crunch later and we'll share what we've learned there. But along the way, you've been able to hear, and hopefully it's been inspiring, hear people talk about what brings them hope and how do they sustain hope. And it's, at least for me, it's been inspiring to hear.
Absolutely.
And then we also wanted to be innovative in a couple of new offerings, and we did that. We learned from that. We didn't actually end up with any takers on them. So we tried doing a workshop. We did offered a group coaching program, and we said we were going to do some public speaking. Mm-hmm. And of course, this is kind of public speaking every week, but to get out in front of live groups. And for a variety of reasons, crammed schedules, it's a lot to put episodes out every week. And just maybe we didn't do the marketing. It wasn't hitting the interest level, or for whatever reason. But we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to think of innovative ways to kind of meet your needs out there. And so let us know too. You can jump on our website, send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. What would be important for you? And we'd love to put an offering out that would meet your needs.
Yeah, I think everything is sort of trial and error for us because we're still, we've gotten good at some things really well.
Yeah.
I think we're rocking it in certain areas. And I think we're never going to move forward if we don't try, and sorry, Carla, but if we don't try something different or if we don't experiment with new and different things. And so for us, that was a stretch. That was a stretch.
Yeah.
So especially since we both have jobs.
That's right. Yeah. So definitely a year of learning, a year of stretching, feeling a little uncomfortable, that we were pushing our learning edge, and lots of joy and cool things. And we're going to talk about the numbers next.
Yeah, we are. We're going to talk about the numbers because we rocked it during the first part of those goals. And I think we need to tell people what that actually equated to, right?
Yeah.
So we started out the year, if we looked at our first year, we did 45 podcast episodes in the first year. Well, we did 45 podcast episodes last year too. So go figure. We take a month
52
off.
52 weeks in a year.
There you go. We take a month off and maybe one extra week and we're done. So that was good. We had 45 episodes. And of those episodes, we had 38 guests. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that is.
38 guests. And of the 38 guests, we had a few that did more than one episode. So that was pretty cool too. We had, I believe, probably 3 of them during that time period did an additional episode. So
and actually another thing that we tried this year and had good success with was we had one guest, well, it was a pair of guests actually, 2 episodes in a row. Like it was an expanded episode. That was something we wanted to try too, and we did that.
We rocked it.
Yeah.
And people listened to both of those episodes. It was almost like a continuing series,
right? Part 1, part 2.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Great. Mm-hmm. I loved it. So if we look at how many actual minutes that we this last year, I'll do a little comparison because I just can't help it. In year 1, we did 1,945 minutes. And we were thinking, whoa, right? Well, this year we did 2,107 minutes, which equates to 35.12 hours, which is a lot.
And that's the final edited, dropped version.
Yes, that is not the version before editing, which Crystal usually has to cut a bit and move things around. So if we were to add that, we'd probably have at least another 4 or 5 or 12 hours, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We had nearly 200,000 listens in 2 years. So that's from since the beginning to today. Almost 200,000 listens. Our first year, we had 6,727 listens. And in year 2, we had 190,347 listens.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah. And a lot of those are attributed to our 170,000 plus for the viral episode. But still.
But regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless of that, we still ended up with quite a few.
So that actually is a 2,729% increase year 2 over year 1. But we know
Percent increase?
Yeah, percent
Oh my
increase. But when you take out that viral episode, we still had 202% increase.
Wow.
Year 2 over year 1.
That is
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yeah. So welcome all the new listeners. We're so glad you're here.
So those are pretty good numbers. I don't care what anybody says. I think for 2 people who work full time and we have a day to do our recordings, and we have some flippin' amazing listeners.
Yeah.
We did really well this last year.
Yeah.
And we're just starting. Wow. And so with all that great news, we do have also, we wanted to share some of the comments that came about all those wonderful episodes. And we have no doubt that many of you were some of the people who said those comments. So if you hear your comment somewhere, thank you very much. It was humbling, and we are just honored that we've been able to do this podcast and have such great following. Thank you.
And we just talk about opening our heart. Your comments open our heart. And so it really inspires us to keep going. And so anytime that you can leave us a note, we really appreciate it. We want to know that we're making a difference.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to run through a number of these. We hope you'll hang in there and just be able to kind of soak in them a little bit and appreciate it. So the first one is, loved this week's episode. Thank you for sharing such an important conversation.
The next one was, oh my gosh, that conversation with Peter Block really blew me away. It was somehow exactly what I needed to hear. I felt tears coming multiple times throughout the episode. Very powerful. And I could hear the connection between you, which was really beautiful.
This next comment was about Judy Oyadelli and Sasha Farley's episode. Oh, wow. Way to go getting these rock stars on your podcast. They are incredible thinkers, facilitators, teachers, and change agents for human flourishing.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one was one really important word, and it was lovely.
I love that. Then thank you for sharing a light on all the ways, big and small, we can embody leadership in the world today. Indeed, we are all leaders today because every action matters.
I love this next one too. It's this podcast episode is what everyone needs to hear. What an incredibly powerful conversation with one of the best thinkers on the planet, Peter Block. I've sent this podcast to numerous people with the recommendation that they have a listen to it. It's a game changer for anyone who is alive and paying attention. Your podcast is such a gift, and this episode is a treasure.
Generative questions and authentic curiosity are key elements for leaders and all of us trying to navigate the world today. Thank you for this conversation and for inspiring leaders to open their hearts and lift their sense of possibility.
I love that. This one was actually for us, and I thought we should just keep it in here, okay? Which is, thank you, Crystal and Tricia, for having me. It was an absolute pleasure. I'm grateful that we gave space to have this conversation and truly hope that your listeners walk away from this episode with some tools, insights, and hope.
This next one just cracked me up. But I loved it because it shows a little bit of what we hope to do on this podcast, which is sometimes to keep it a little bit light.
Yeah.
And so it says, guessing I can speak for many of your listeners when I say we require photos or videos of Trisha Ryan's baby deer woo-hooing. And Trisha was talking about, maybe you should tell the story. Why don't you tell the story of the woo-hooing? Do you remember?
All I can remember is that I was looking out in my yard, and this is something that I do all the time because I have deer in my yard every single day, and I can't get enough of it. In fact, I had to get the kind of blinds that close from the bottom up so that I could just wipe out any view I have. Otherwise, I forget to do my work, right? But what I noticed was, it was kind of spring, summer. The babies were out, and they always run through my backyard, because it's a nice, big, long backyard, and they run back and forth. And one of them just got this little moment and must have just thought, I have to jump. And he just kind of jumped up in the air, twisted his little body, went woohoo, and then just, fell down to the ground and started running again. But it's something I see every single year with every new batch of babies. And I think it must be something that is, I don't know, maybe it's something that they are born with. I have no idea, but I see them do it all the time. And I would like to believe it's the apples I give them, but I don't know if that's true.
That's cute. Yeah.
So the next one was another short one, but it is absolutely welcomed. And it was, what a fascinating conversation. And I think I've seen that on a couple of our episodes, the comments on a couple of our episodes. So I'm hoping that people feel like we are hitting the mark more often than not in creating fascinating moments.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, this is a fun comment too. Can't wait to listen. So this is even before they heard the terrific episode. Can't wait to listen to what is surely a terrific conversation with three amazing people.
Aww.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Yeah.
The next one was from our friend, Melanie Vargas, and she was talking about mental wellness in the workplace, and she did a beautiful episode with us on that. Yeah. And if you haven't heard it, I really recommend you go back, and you can look on Spotify and you'll see the topics. But check it out, because it is, and this being mental health awareness month, it's a great time to be kind of revisiting that. But her comment was, thank you so much, Crystal Roberts and Trisha Ryan, for inviting me to join you for this very important discussion. This topic is near and dear to my heart and critical to leaders today. Also, it's always so much fun to hang out with both of you. Yay!
Like that.
Very nice.
Yeah. This was also from another one of our guests. So I think what is kind of special about Lifting Leaders podcast is we hope that our listeners, and we're hearing obviously that our listeners are appreciating the episodes, but we hear fantastic comments from our guests as well. And we love to provide a platform for people who have a message that's aligned with what we're trying to accomplish here. Yes. And so we love to hear from our guests who say it's been a great experience, and we've heard just so many cool things where it's sort of helped people launch their books.
Yes.
We've had almost, I would even say, launch a career. I won't say specifically who's about that, but we know that people have benefited. Our guests have benefited from being on the podcast and people hearing them. So this one is from another one of our authors and a guest. And she said, one of my favorite convos. Thank you for having me as a guest. And that matters to us. Yeah.
Yes. And her book just absolutely launched and went crazy. It shot through the roof. In fact, there's a whole population of people who have made that a #1 bestseller in, in equity, diversity, and inclusion. It was just beautifully done. And she's keynote speaking all over the place now.
Yeah. Love
it's
that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
The next one is, I thought was beautiful. It's another DEI type response, and it was such an important word, belonging, as we consider a deep meaning of DEI and the new nature meaning of work. Thank you for putting this out there.
Yeah.
And it was about our episode that we did on belonging.
Yeah. Another one, encouraging listeners to participate in the HOPE survey is a great way to engage the community and gather diverse perspectives on important topics. I hope the survey receives widespread participation and contributes to meaningful conversations.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Love that. And then the very last one that we chose, although we had a lot more to pick from, but we just decided this one was a great way to end it, and that was great podcast.
Yeah. So thank you so much for those comments and many other comments to give us feedback on what you're liking, and we want to bring you more of that.
And the other side of that too, to be honest. I mean, we have a goal to delight everybody basically, but the reality is that some people it may not land as well. And if it doesn't, let us know that too, because we need to know, where we're making the mark and where we may need to make some adjustments. We'd be glad to do that. And we also have to be real about the fact that we're not always going to please everybody. And that's okay, right?
Yeah. That's right. I mean, having a point of view, that's the whole point of having a podcast, right?
Exactly.
Is to have a point of view. So this last part is one where we wanted to honor some of the quotable quotes of these episodes in this last year. And there were so many things we could have picked, but these sort of stood out for us, and we'd love it if you shared with us some of the things that inspired you or that you found to be kind of aha moments or insights.
Well before we say what they were, I just want to say how amazing it was to be in conversation with so many of these folks and just off the tongue. I mean, just in the conversation, these gems would pop out. And we were, furiously thinking, okay, I've got to write that down. I have to write that down, because they were poignant. They were beautiful. Yeah. And so let's share some.
Yeah. So we hope that these reminders anyway, because hopefully you've heard them in real time, but reminders inspire you to maybe even go back, maybe listen to an episode or two, or just to carry you forward. My first one is from Glodine Champion, and she was actually early in the second year. If you could get someone to listen from their heart, then their mind, no matter how resistant, will follow.
It's so beautiful. The first one that I've selected is from Farah Harris, and her episode was so powerful. Her quote was, "When we have people masking their true selves, we lose the potential for greatness."
Yeah, such an important conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love that she has just absolutely exploded.
She has.
Yeah, we've been watching her. She's been featured on TV and all kinds of stuff. So grateful that we got her when we did. My second one, this comes from Lindsay Godwin, and she was actually on the podcast twice. The first time she was on, she was talking more about leadership and sustainability, and the second time she talked about her book. So this was actually from the first podcast. She said, "This is our moment. There is power when we become more intentional and unapologetic about a non-neutral stance."
Wow.
Dr. Lindsay Godwin.
Yes, she had so many gems. It was really it was hard to pull out a particular quote. We could have just been sitting there like recording quotes. They were beautiful. My next one is from Jeff Bellman, when we went to Jeff's house in Seattle, right? And we were talking during that time about teaming and leadership in teams, and not just solo leadership, right? And his quote was, "If you don't build your own life, others will build it for you." And that's pretty interesting. We got a chance to talk to him about his life and how he really planned for and built his life around doing things like taking the bus to work and doing all sorts of things. But all of it had a positive end. All of it had a positive intent. And I thought that was beautifully said, but it's true. you
Yeah.
know? If you don't build your own life, others will build it for you.
Yeah. And that's why it was important that we did our planning, and then we set some goals so that we had a plan, and yet we're open to what came along to us from the universe.
Well, and the last quote that I have, if I can just give you, is from Peter Block.
Yeah.
Mr. Peter Block himself. And it's a short one, but wow, this one kind of hits me in the mirror, right? The opposite of love is certainty. And we're talking about opening our hearts.
Yes.
Right? And to me, that is something that I need to pay attention to. And I think we all do, right?
Yeah.
The opposite of love is certainty.
Yeah. It's an act of faith,
Yes,
really.
it is.
Not faith in the religious sense, but faith in sort of trusting the universe, that we have to go first. We have to love first.
And we always have to do that, I think. Keeping love in mind with everything we do, instead of, just other things that we think about. I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Think about everything with love and know that you may stumble, you may get your heart broken. But if you keep love in the forefront, you're always going to recover, and you may recover better, right?
Yeah. Yep. So we love our listeners.
We do. We're very grateful for all of you. And it's humbling sometimes to think about the fact that we started this with probably 5 listeners, and probably 4 of them were our family members.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a good reminder that even on the episodes that we might not have hundreds of people listening, because it goes up and down. That's what we've also learned, that it goes up and down, that it's important. It's important what we do.
Yes, it is.
And to continue to get our message out about unleashing leader possibilities to make a better world, and to provide space for our guests who also are aligned with that, to lift their voices up. Yeah.
And I just want the world to know that I am so grateful that I get to be on this journey with you, Crystal. You're an amazing podcast co-host, and you've taught me a lot, and I'm eternally grateful to you. Thank you.
And right back at you, because we do it together, right?
Yes,
and
we
we
do.
have so much fun doing it. Yeah, we make a great team. So, yeah, cheers to us.
Cheers to you, our listeners.
Our listeners, for helping us to get to this point.
Absolutely. We are so stoked. I mean, now I feel like I've got energy for going forward. I thought I had it before, but now I really have it.
2+ years, almost 100 episodes.
Yes.
Next episode will be 100.
And it's going to be awesome.
Many more to come.
Yes. So we're going to wrap with our usual, which is let's keep that conversation going. If you have questions or comments about the show, you can find us on all our social media channels at lifting_leaders. We have so many exceptional podcast episodes coming up with more fantastic guests, so be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. If you know someone who would find this episode inspiring, share it with them, text them, email them, or take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram and tag us at lifting_leaders. If you'd like to know more about us, our guests, or the show that's outside of what we just told you today, please go to our website at liftingleaderspodcast.com. You'll find our show notes there as well. If you're looking for help in developing your leaders, or would like a growth opportunity yourself through leader coaching, please contact us through our website at www.liftingleaderspodcast.com. Always, we send thanks to Ari Chance Roberts for his technical support, and he's been with us from the very beginning. Finally, please take 30 seconds and follow us. It helps you because you never miss an episode, and it helps us because you never miss an episode. To follow us, go to the Lifting Leaders Podcast show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or wherever you listen. Then just tap the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner or click on follow. While you're there, if you'd be willing to give us a 5-star rating and review and share that episode with a friend, we'd be so grateful. Thank you, Crystal.
Thanks,
Always
Trisha.
fun.
Yep.
Many thanks to you, our listeners. As always, we appreciate you more than you know. Find ways every day to lift each other up. Thank you.
Bye.